I never thought a gas station could break a person. But then again, I never thought I'd be the one working the graveyard shift, watching the world blur under the flickering fluorescent lights. The job started out simple enough. Stocking shelves, cleaning spills, and the endless repetitive chime of the door announcing another customer. It was supposed to be a temporary gig, a way to pay the bills while I figured out my next move. But weeks turned into months, and the fluorescent haze started to feel like my permanent reality. The problem wasn't the job itself. I actually didn't mind the quiet hours, the strange characters who drifted in at 3 a.m., or even the smell of gasoline that clung to my clothes. The problem was the environment, a slow drip poison that seeped into everything. It started with my manager, a man we'll call Dave. Dave had this uncanny ability to make you feel about an inch tall. He wasn't overtly aggressive, not at first. It was more subtle. A condescending tone when you asked a question, a sigh loud enough for the whole store to hear if you made a small mistake. He'd joke about my college degree, saying things like, all that education just to sell lottery tickets, huh? It was designed to chip away at you, to make you feel small and worthless. At first, I brushed it off. I told myself it was just his personality, that he didn't mean anything by it. I'd force a smile and get back to work. But the comments were relentless, and they were always in front of other people. He'd criticize how I swept the floor in front of customers. He'd question my intelligence for not being able to fix the temperamental coffee machine on the first try. My coworkers and I developed a silent language of shared glances and eye rolls. We were all in the same boat, adrift in a sea of passive aggression. One of my colleagues, Maria, had been there for 5 years. She was a single mom, tough as nails, but I could see the toll it was taking on her. Dave would constantly change her schedule at the last minute, knowing she had to arrange for childcare. He'd make her recount her cash drawer 3 or 4 times, implying she couldn't be trusted. She never complained, she just did it, her face a mask of weary resignation. We'd talk in hushed tones in the stockroom, sharing our frustrations. Just keep your head down, she'd tell me. It's just a job. But it was becoming more than just a job. It was my life. I was spending 40 hours a week in a place that made me feel anxious and incompetent. I started dreading my shifts. The night before, I'd lie awake, my stomach in knots, replaying Dave's latest snide remark in my head. I lost my appetite. I was irritable with my friends and family, snapping at them for no reason. The person I saw in the mirror looked tired, drained of the optimism I used to have. The gas station wasn't just my workplace anymore. It was a cloud hanging over every aspect of my life. The turning point came on a particularly brutal Tuesday night. The credit card machine went down. It was a known issue, something IT had been working on for weeks. But to Dave, it was my fault. He called me from his home, his voice dripping with annoyance, and berated me for not being able to fix it. It's not that hard, he scoffed, as if I had a degree in computer engineering. I tried to explain that I had followed all the troubleshooting steps, but he cut me off. Just figure it out, he snapped and hung up. I stood there in the silent, empty store, phone in my hand, feeling completely and utterly defeated. A customer, an elderly man buying a newspaper, must have seen the look on my face. He came up to the counter and said, "Don't let him get to you, son. It's just a broken machine. You're doing a fine job." His simple act of kindness was like a dam breaking. I managed a weak smile and a thank you, but as soon as he left, the tears I had been holding back for months started to fall. I was crying in a gas station at 2 in the morning, not because of a broken machine, but because I felt trapped and helpless. That night, something shifted in me. I realized Maria was wrong. It wasn't just a job. My mental health, my self-worth, my happiness, they were all worth more than a paycheck from a place that was systematically destroying them. The fear of unemployment, of the unknown, had kept me paralyzed. But the pain of staying had finally become greater than the fear of leaving. The next day, I started my job search in earnest. I polished my resume, reached out to my network, and applied for anything and everything that seemed like a step up, or even a step sideways, as long as it was away from the gas station. It was terrifying. I had bills to pay, rent was due. But for the first time in a long time, I felt a flicker of hope. I was taking back control. A few weeks later, I got an offer for an entry-level office job. It wasn't glamorous, and the pay was about the same, but during the interview, the manager was kind and respectful. The office seemed bright and professional. It felt like breathing fresh air after being stuck in a stuffy, smoke-filled room. Walking into the gas station to give my 2 weeks' notice was one of the most empowering moments of my life. I found Dave in his tiny office, hunched over paperwork. I handed him my resignation letter. He barely looked at it, just grunted and said, "Fine, you weren't cut out for this anyway." The old me would have been crushed by that comment, but the new me just smiled. "You're right," I said. "I'm not." And I walked out, the chime of the door sounding less like an alarm and more like a melody of freedom. The last 2 weeks were strange. Dave mostly ignored me, which was a blessing. Maria gave me a hug on my last day, her eyes a little teary. "Good for you," she whispered. "Don't ever let anyone treat you like that again." Her words stuck with me. Leaving that job was like waking up from a long nightmare. It took a while to deprogram myself. For the first few weeks at my new job, I'd flinch if my boss called my name, expecting a criticism. I'd over-apologize for the smallest mistakes. But slowly, in a supportive and healthy environment, the old me started to resurface. I started laughing more. I started sleeping through the night. I started to feel like myself again. Looking back, I learned a crucial lesson under those fluorescent lights. No job is worth your mental peace. We often tell ourselves to just tough it out, that it's normal to be miserable at work, but it's not. A toxic work environment is not a rite of passage. It's a red flag. It's a sign that you need to leave. It's scary to take that leap, to face the uncertainty of unemployment. But staying in a place that drains your spirit is a different kind of risk, a risk to your well-being, your relationships, and your future. If you're in a situation like I was, feeling trapped and devalued, please know that you are not alone and you are not powerless. Start by acknowledging the toll it's taking on you. Talk to someone you trust. Your feelings are valid. And then, when you're ready, start making a plan. It might not happen overnight, but every small step you take towards leaving is a step towards reclaiming your life. Whether it's updating your resume, taking an online course, or just researching other companies, you are investing in your own well-being. Your job is a part of your life, but it should not be the part that breaks you. You deserve to be treated with respect. You deserve to feel safe and valued. And you absolutely have the strength to walk away from any situation that tells you otherwise. My story started in a gas station, but it didn't end there, and yours doesn't have to either. Thanks for listening.